All right. Meantime, the Trump administration is in talks with Intel to have the U.S. government potentially take a 10% stake in the chip maker. Earlier this week, the White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed the administration's efforts. Here's what she had to say.
As for this 10% government stake deal, the Department of Commerce continues to work on it. I know Secretary Lutnick is working on it and ironing out the details, but the president wants to put America's needs first, both from a national security and economic perspective. And it's a creative idea that has never been done before to ensure that we're both reshoring these critical supply chains while also gaining something of it for the American taxpayer.
With that, let's welcome in our panelist. Kent Strang joins us, Managing Director at Americans for Prosperity. And Brandon Arnold is here, Executive Vice President at the National Taxpayers Union. Gentlemen, welcome and thanks for coming on. So Secretary Leavitt's comments come as SoftBank is set to make a $2 billion investment into Intel. So Kent, what does this mean for the company and also investors?
Well, when it comes to the 10% stake in Intel, I certainly understand what President Trump is trying to do with national security, but I think we need to be really careful about the precedent that this sets. What we don't want is we don't want the government to pick winners and losers in the marketplace. We want the marketplace to decide who wins and who loses. And then the other thing that we need to be cautious of is what happens if there is a extreme left-wing progressive that wants to start nationalizing American industry. We need to be cautious of that, but it's an ongoing negotiation. And we'll see what happens.
All right, we will. As we're watching the markets today, it looks like the Dow's down about 260 points right now. Again, markets just opening up. The president, though, is laser focused on the Fed and what happens to those rates. Again, he's calling out Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Could somebody please inform Jerome, too late, Powell, that he's hurting the housing industry very badly? People can't get a mortgage because of him. There's no inflation, and every sign is pointing to a major rate cut. Too late is a disaster. His comments come as the minutes from July's Fed meeting shows that the governors are divided, those Fed governors, about what to do with rate cuts here. Seems as though two could be arguing in favor of rate cuts. The minutes also showing that the Fed's worried about tariffs, inflation, and the labor market. And of course, the news, Brandon, that President Trump is encouraging one of the governors to resign. That would be Lisa Cook. So he wants to see her gone. What kind of pressure does this have for the board and possible future decisions?
Yeah, pretty significant impact there, of course. And Cook is pushing back and saying that she is not going to be bullied into supporting whatever the president is advocating here. It's a tricky situation, but listen, I think when we talk about interest rates, the Fed is not the only game in town. There are other ways that the government can drive down interest rates. The biggest one, of course, is driving down the national debt. If we're borrowing less at the federal level, then guess what? Interest rates will fall more organically. So I think that also be the laser focus of this administration, working with a Congress that has stated they want to move in the direction of a balanced budget to start cutting spending in a very significant fashion. The One Big Beautiful Bill started that process, but there's a lot more work to do. The less red ink we have, the lower interest rates will be in a more organic fashion, and that'll be a huge benefit to the economy at whole. Certainly home buyers and folks that are trying to take out loans, that'll be a huge bit of relief for them.
Speaking about the One Big Beautiful Bill, the vice president is in Peachtree, Georgia today, so we'll be watching his comments about that and how he's touting those Trump tax cuts. We'll be watching. All right, Kent Strang and Brandon Arnold, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.